Meeting on February 6, 2023, in the headquarters of the BBVA Foundation in Madrid, Spain, in order to deliberate and decide, the jury has resolved to grant the BBVA Foundation Frontiers of Knowledge Award in the Information and Communication Technologies category in its 15th edition to Professor Alberto Sangiovanni Vincentelli, University of California, Berkeley. Integrated circuit chips play an omnipresent role in modern world, powering computers, smartphones, automobiles, and household appliances. At the birth of the silicon industry, the design of such chips was slow and required laborious, handcrafted, in a process more art than science. The contributions of Professor Alberto Sangiovanni Vincentelli radically transformed this design process, giving rise to modern silicon design industry. By providing software tools to ease the creation of complex chips, he made possible a worldwide explosion of silicon design spanning research, industry, and academia. We are all familiar with the historical miniaturization of chip features articulated by Moore's law, but the resulting increase in circuit density quickly led to sprawling chip layouts as complex as a large city and just as impossible to manually design. Over a span of 3 decades, Professor Sangiovanni Vincentelli created a rich ecosystem of electronic design automation techniques that revolutionized and remain at the core of how we build computer systems. First, Sangiovanni Vincentelli invented novel methods to dramatically speed up simulators of circuit behavior, allowing designers to model and test increasingly complex ideas before building expensive chips. Second, he formulated ideas of logic synthesis, enabling designers to create silicon systems through the expression of programming language commands. For example, a simple addition command needs to be synthesized into hundreds of composite logic gates. The synthesis tools he created automate this translation and enable formal verification of their correctness. Third, he developed algorithms for geometrically placing and connecting these logic blocks on a chip for optimal performance and lowest power. The subsequent creation of an entire industry of silicon computer-aided design bears witness to the durability and importance of these ideas. Cadence and Synopsys, 2 technology giants co-founded by Sangiovanni Vincentelli to integrate EDA ideas into powerful software platforms, collectively drive the entire silicon industry. Their design tools are used in every single computer chip built today. A prolific inventor, outstanding educator, and successful entrepreneur, Sangiovanni Vincentelli created innovations, algorithms, and methodologies that define an entire industry and made possible the vast tapestry of today's electronic systems.
Could you define the concept of electronic design automation and explain how, in the words of the jury, it revolutionized how we build computer systems?
Design is a process that is at the basis of any engineering discipline, and design is was mostly done by hand. So electronic design automation is the science and the implementation in computer software that helps people designing their system more efficiently and without errors. This is especially important for chips, so semiconductors, that are pervasive in everyday object. And the capability of doing this process automatically has made it possible to go from a few hundred of basic components, transistor, on a single chip, to the point where we are today, when we can place more than 1 billion transistor on a single chip. So we went from 1 to 1 million in a few years of the evolution of this methodology.
Could you provide specific examples of how the tools you developed are being employed today to build chips in the electronic devices we all use in our everyday lives?
So the chips that go into our objects, let that be a laptop, let that be a telephone, let that be a car, or even toys that we give to our children, are designed following a standard process that everybody who is involved in designing engineering system goes through, which goes from ideation, so in other words, what I want to achieve with my electronic subsystem, and its implementation. So when I finally get a little tiny piece of silicon that gets inserted in the objects that we use every day. That process goes through a series of steps, and we were able to formalize this series of steps in such a way that you can build mathematically a transition from one step to the next to the next. And once you define precisely mathematically what these steps look like, then you can build software tools that actually automate these steps. And that is what created that revolution that we were discussing in the previous question.
Looking into the future of your field, what lines of research do you think are the most promising, and what potential applications do you foresee will be the most transformative?
Now, since we have been able to master the complexity of designing electronic systems, then we are thinking about how to extend the tools and the algorithms that we develop to different fields. And that is not as easy as it seems, because every field, of course, has its own characteristics. And one important characteristic is to be able to do that rigorous development of the various steps and the formalization of these steps. Now, some people say that we could use machine learning to do these steps, and certainly some of these steps can be aided by machine learning. But no, you cannot do everything with machine learning, because we know more than using machine learning algorithm. We know a physics principle, and using that, we can guarantee the performance of our tools. So this is the most important line of research, if you like, in my field. But the applications that we're looking at, besides things like automobile, airplanes, and buildings, is actually biology. So in my opinion, this is the most promising avenue, considering how important it is to design drugs to cure diseases in a rigorous way, so that they don't have side effects. They are produced in much faster way than they are produced today. They are tested quickly. And in addition to that, we can use them to create life forms that are not existing in nature, to engineer these life forms to perform specific tasks. Now, this is possible, and in fact, a student of mine has developed a theory and its application to synthetic biology, and has even formed a company, which is called Asimov, that is implementing this way of thinking. In addition, one of the companies that I helped founding has just completed an acquisition of a company that is active in the domain of drug discovery, which will help humanity in ways that we cannot foresee now, but in 10 years can revolutionize that domain as well.